All right, it is July 31st. No, July 13th, 2026, 10:31. That's the 31 that I saw PM. And it's been a nice few weeks. It's been a nice few weeks. Not a whole lot has been going on since the last update. Just been working through what my idea of the best version of me looks like, if that makes any sense. Oftentimes, life is just happening. A lot of times, life is just happening. And we can get so caught up in what's taking place day to day that we don't like, or the idea of feeling stuck. We don't necessarily take the time to reflect on, I don't want to say what unstuck looks like, but I go through a lot of, well, I go through, oh, I go through a lot of reflections. Um, if it's not every day, is at least once a week. I go through moments where I sit back and I think of where I currently am in that moment, and it's kind of like what good looks like. And recently, I went through that thought process when it came to work, my professional life. So, in what I used to do, the a part of my core identity was what I did for people. And not that I was necessarily being used, but I got my value out of what I did for others because I didn't have the highest level of value within myself at that time. And so if you pick the friend, brother, cousin, father, son, friend, those titles, they they gave me the sense of value for what I can do for the people where those titles had the associations. And work and my professional space was probably one of the places where I felt the most valuable because being in sales and being a manager, you kind of got the results of those things in real time. And so I was in the consumer electronics cell phone industry. Um, I would say in that in just that from 2007 to 2020. And no, sorry, 2022. And so a lot of what was able to maneuver me into that space was I was good at it, but I enjoyed the product. I enjoyed the industry. So when cell phones were new, so again, we're talking '07, I was there in Verizon as a greeter when the iPhone first launched during that Black Friday. And I was a part of that process. And I remember when the Android devices, I had the T-Mobile T1, the little brown one, and like I just remember that. I remember when the first Android phone came to Verizon. I remember when the 4G and 5G and all those things. I was there for all of that, and so it was cool. I've always found tech electronic devices cool. They that's just what was going on. And not only was it cool, I found the ability to connect people, especially older individuals, to friends and family members or what have you. Like the communication tool that people were being introduced to, I found joy, pleasure, value in connecting people. And so, because that was my role and that was one of the things that I enjoyed, I absorbed the content. Like I was on cell phone websites first thing in the morning, last thing in the evening. When my days were slower, when I was just selling phones, I was on those websites during slow days or studying during slow days. And so the ability to do well in that space was able to show me that I had value, and I got the confirmation and validation from others when they spoke about how well I did. And because my personal life just it wasn't horrible, but there was a lot of things that I still had not worked through when it came to how I felt about me. Work was where I was the most confident, where I was the strongest, where I was the best version of myself in that space. And, you know, rolled me all the way through 2020, 2022, and now I'm here. And so now that I am in this space and in my personal life is absolutely fantastic. There is no I love me more now than I ever have. I am in the happiest, most peaceful space mentally, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically than I've ever been. And I work in an IT department for a nonprofit, and I am surrounded by people who have been in either the nonprofit space before, or they enjoy coding, or it's like IT is part of their driver. IT not necessarily my driver. People are. And what one of the things that I really just not that I didn't know it, but I was able to articulate it better was that I did not feel the same type of passion and drive and motivation or obsession with the work I particularly do in the same way as I did then. And after going through it and, having conversations and kind of talking it through um, the AI chatbots that I use, I think maybe next time I do one of these videos, I'll talk about that process and how I even got to utilizing AI in the way I did now, because I'm sure it'll have a point to some degree. But as I was going through those conversations, or just again, I use it to think out loud. Um, One of the things that came up was I used the external factors of the sales, of the results, of the commissions, of the um, competitiveness, of the seeing people every day in, day out, making those connections. All of that was my driver, and it fed me. When I came home, things was going in a different direction. Well, now I don't have that. I feel great. And so it's not that I felt stuck, but I just had no I've been trying to force a way to get that same passion back. And I just kind of felt out of balance because I can't force anything. Things have to flow with me. And I don't do a good job of compartmentalizing anything. Everything with me is integrated. So one of the things that came up was not trying to of instead of looking at the role or the job as the anchor to drive me, I am the anchor to drive me. Meaning, instead of saying, I need to make another sale, or let me help my people make a sale, which then a stat board will show I've done a good job, or the people that I'm working with show me, or that they followed my direction, or I'm shadowing them and I'm helping them out, or whatever that thing is within the sales arena, or the external device and the new information about the technology is fueling it. It is internal. I am the I am the tool. I am the engine. There we go. I am the engine to turn on, to drive. So the question for me is, what about me and what I do excites me? What are these skills? What is the core thing that I am doing that I want to continue to be good at? And it's not from a technical standpoint, really it's leadership. It's people. It's making connections. It's finding ways to contribute. It's uh, being able to help someone that I am leading navigate and move better in the ways that they wish to move. And I have the platform to do it here. And so so the thing then becomes, Mike, how can you be the best version of you possible in just being a great person, great leader in the role that you have? Because for me, excuse me, communication skills, understanding business concepts, um, being able to speak a certain language, understanding systems, uh, things of that nature. Those are really soft skills. It's not even anything technical, and it's the thing that I've done well. But I understood the platform because I was in the platform, right? Like I was a sales rep first, and I understood what I needed to do to be a great salesperson. And because I was good at communication, at teaching, at showing, at guiding, I then became a better manager and and first and foremost, a better leader because I was able to help guide the people who followed me into that direction. Here, I'm starting kind of brand new, but I'm in the leadership capacity because they don't need me to be the most technical person. We have people for that, but they don't have the leadership capability to to they don't have leadership is not was isn't the thing that they want to do. They want to develop. They want to dig into the technicals. And so for me, and they don't require and my leadership does not require me to have to be the most technical. However, I do need to be able to speak the language. I do need to understand. I do need to be able to do the thing because I was hired to do the thing, right? Be a QA engineer first, supervisor, and capability leader now. So I started as a QA engineer, a manual QA engineer with the transition into being the supervisor with one direct report, and now I've transformed into the capability leader. So I had to take somewhat of a step back and see the entire field, if you will. And so when I sat with that, and I've kind of been in this QA capability space for a few months, and I really enjoy the work that I do. I really enjoy the job itself and the mission that we have and everything. and I have the freedom and flexibility to build my career as I see fit. But what is requiring of me is something I've never pulled from before, right? There's always been something external to move me, and it's generally been, what am I doing for someone else? Here, it is, how can I get the best of me just to be the best version of me? And I'm not gonna lie, it was a little not scary. I'll use the word scary because I don't have another word. Just because it's requiring me to dig into a space that I haven't had to before. Right? It's like almost I was like free falling, and there is not a thing to grab onto, because the thing to grab onto is me, my mind, to balance myself out and to build a thing within me to get myself moving in the way that I'm able to do the best job possible and contribute to the company the best way possible and contribute to the team the best way possible so that I can make the impact that I want to make. It's not going to take me long. And I know 1000% that I can do it. It's just it's a new process for me. A new process, which means I'm growing. I mean, really, this whole thing is in me. It's a part of the growth process. I have come out of survival. I have come out of fear. I have come out of living off the old story of who I used to be. It was a part of my life, but that's not the story I'm living in anymore. A lot of what I did was based off of how I got to that point. But now I'm here, starting in a new playing field, and I can write my story in real time as I move forward. And it's easier to maneuver and operate off of what you've experienced than to build it off of what you believe. I like that. I like that. Right. I'm building off of manifestation as opposed to experience. Now, the lessons I learned can help me create the systems that I can use as stepping stones to create the manifestation I am building. But it's a new muscle. It's a new muscle. So that is what these last, I don't know, week and a half, 2 weeks almost has been. Just me sitting with myself longer, removing the story of who I was, and in real time writing the story of who I am and who I'm building myself to be. And so I don't know, I feel like July very is a each week something is building on the next. Each week something is building on the next. So, and as I've stated before, this is the documentation of this story. And any new developments, thought processes, stories that I'm able to speak to in how this process is going will serve as something to be able to look back to, just so I can remind myself of how I got here in whatever point in time I start to look back. So I guess the question is to myself, and I guess to anybody else, what story are you choosing to write?